Dun, dun, dun. The clock is ticking. South Coast Public Safety, you have been chosen to be audited. A lot of you put down names of different security companies that you want me to audit, that you want me to review. And the name of South Coast Public Safety kept popping up. Special shout out to Abe. Abe put a whole list of about 20 different companies that he wants me to audit. And on that list was South Coast Public Safety. It just because I keep seeing the name South Coast Public Safety popping up, I decided to review this company. Here's my disclaimer. Everything that I talk about in this video, it's not fact. It's just Sean's opinion. That's it. It's not professional opinion. It's not professional advice. It's just my opinion. It might matter to you or it might not. But this is just my review. There could be errors or omissions in this video as well. If you own South Coast Public Safety and I have made an error in this video, you can reach out to me and I can always do another video where I can offer some type of redaction. I probably won't delete the whole video, but I'll offer some redaction. If you own a security company and you want me to review your company, let me know. But I'll tell you this, a lot of you guys who own private security companies, you're scared of me. You're scared of being audited. You're scared of any type of investigation because you're probably not in compliance. That's a fact. Because otherwise you would invite me to your place if you're in Southern California and let me go over all of your company logos, your security vehicles. I was in the Rancho Cucamonga area about 2 weeks ago. I put it out there, and again, all of you guys are scared. If you're not scared, and I know there's a lot of you who are in the area, if you're not scared, then you would invite me, but you're scared because you're not in compliance. So let's face the hard truth, okay? Okay, so let's start our review. Shoulder patches. South Coast Public Safety, you guys are creative. If you're creative and you're within compliance, I'll state the truth. So they are in compliance. Now, I do notice that they have an emphasis in the words public safety, but in most of the logos that I've seen, the words private security are subdued in black. It's like they just want you to see the words public safety. For example, the badge says public safety, and then it says South Coast, and then it has the establishment date. The badge is auto compliance. There's no individual serial number on there. Patrol cars. I keep noticing that there's an emphasis in the words public safety. With the color combination and the emphasis on those words, I keep thinking about two public safety departments that are within a university. There's Chapman University and there's USC Department of Public Safety. Both departments use the words public safety, and both departments have limited peace officer authority. There's a general agreement with the chief law enforcement officer in that jurisdiction, and they do have limited law enforcement authority. I don't believe that South Coast Public Safety has any law enforcement authority. And I just kind of get the impression that they're trying to give the public the impression that they have a little bit more authority than others. And that's just from the term public safety. Again, that's just my opinion. Now, I was constantly looking for the words private security because they have to be on the sides of the vehicle or the rear, or it has to say security patrol. So private security or security patrol. But these guys are smart. Whoever's running this company has been reading up on the books. Whoever owns this company does a good job, a decent job at research. Because on the side of the patrol vehicle is a badge, and the badge says private security. Can you see that from 50 feet away? Probably not, but because I don't know, I'm not going to ding them on that. So I thought that was pretty clever. No front license plate. In California, or during the last 2 years, when a vehicle is sold to you from a dealer, they issue you paper plates. So there should be a front plate and a rear plate on all of their vehicles if the photo was taken the last 2 years. Now, I see some photos that go back beyond that, and that's fine. I mean, the dealers weren't issuing the paper plates during that time. But then I look at some more recent photos, and then I do see rear license plates on a lot of these vehicles, but nothing on the front. So I don't believe that they're trying to conceal their plate from other people. Now, what I do sometimes when I make my videos out there in the desert, I get my license plates out of view, or I'll block the license plate with something because I don't want everybody to see my license plates. They might be doing the same thing, but I'm going to say that they're not, because in other videos they clearly show the rear license plate. So I'm going to ding them for that one. Now, it could be just for photo shoots. They'll take the plate off, but no. Spotlight. I'm not going to ding anybody for spotlight. This is just the most silliest California Vehicle Code violation ever. Now, the argument is, well, I'm on private property. Well, how did you get on? My question is, how did you get on private property? Did you tow it there? I mean, come on, guys. Posting of the private patrol operator license on their social media account. They posted their PPO license. This company is very proud of getting their private patrol operator license. They work very hard to get it. So I love it how they display it. I like how you could just run the license, the PPO number, and then you can see whether they're valid or not. So that's pretty awesome, and they are. I do like how they have body cameras, and I like how that they use the most expensive body camera, which is Axon. This is one of the best cameras in my honest opinion. They wear their camera neat on their uniform, and it's not obstructed. The lens is not obstructed. There's also a post where they're advertising, or they're showing the RCB baton. Somebody in this company knows about their equipment, because in my opinion, your RCB baton is just easily beats out the ASP. It's more thicker, and it's a lot more dense, just in my own honest opinion. And I saw like 5 or 6 of them on display. The NDC, I think it's neat how they have the logo in the background. I think that just shows professionalism. And then there's another picture of a police officer or law enforcement officer checking out their MDC. I think that was pretty neat. So then I saw a video where one of their officers is shooting in the desert. He's shooting behind cover of the patrol car. I love this video. He's shooting from different platforms. I mean, everything in that video, it may not be perfect, but I like how he's shooting from different, well, I want to say different angles, not platforms, but different angles. And I like how he's using the vehicle as cover. I love this kind of shooting, guys. So that's definitely a plus for me. I like how they're not just going at square range and just shooting at a paper target, but he's actually trying to utilize cover as best as possible. So that was neat. All right, this is where they're going to get slammed hard. There's a video of one of their officers throwing a bicycle in the trash can, and there's a quote or a comment that says, "If you know, then you know." I did not like this, and they're going to get dinged very hard on this. On this, I'm going to bring them down like maybe a grade or so. Now, I get it, guys. Most likely what's happening, there's a lot of 459ers. A 459er is a burglar in California. So the penal code 459 is a penal code for burglary, law enforcement, security. When they see one of these burglaries occur, they refer to the incident as a 459 or the actual person as a 459er. So what you're probably having is a rash of 459s in this apartment complex. What they usually do is they come in on their bike, they get off their bike, and then they vandalize or they burglarize, and then they take off on their bike and they go away. By throwing the bike in the trash, you're basically taking that element of transportation away. This has to be learned behavior. I know when I started law enforcement, it's not uncommon for law enforcement officers to slash the tires. I'm not saying that I've seen it. I'm not saying that I've done it. All I'm saying is in law enforcement decades ago, this is common. Slash the tires, take out the air, throw the bike in the trash so that they can't keep committing these burglaries. I get it, but these guys, South Coast Public Safety, why are you showing this on camera? People in security, law enforcement, they get it, but your social media is open to everybody else. In my opinion, this is unprofessional. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to throw the wrong bike away. And it's not all the time. If you know, then you know. So this is just a horrible idea. Especially if this is a resident, you can be legally responsible for this bicycle. I just don't understand why you would put that on social media. So I think that incident, you guys took the biggest hit on that. If you guys feel differently, then feel free to disagree. And if you're the owner of the company, or you're in management, or you work for the company, am I wrong about, or am I inaccurate about you getting burglars, vandalizers, then parking their bicycle there, committing the crime, and then leaving? So I really like to know that. I really liked how they had a flower arrangement, and it's for the client. That's original. That's unique. I love this level of thinking. It's thinking outside the box. So that's a plus. Okay. The gun incident. So there's an incident where there's a man with a gun at the apartment complex. Some of you are saying, why are security responding? Well, this security company made the decision to respond to these types of incidents. Now, it looks like it's maybe Anaheim or Orange County. You might have a long ETA. So I don't see anything wrong as long as you're trained to respond to these types of incidents. I don't see any problem. Could you contact law enforcement? Yeah, you can. You could call 911, say what you got, but remember, now you got law enforcement on the way, and now you might have to deal with a mistake of identity situation. That law enforcement officer may not know that you are on the same side. So that's one of the disadvantages of calling law enforcement. Now, in most circumstances, we want to call law enforcement, back off, help them with set a perimeter, but these guys took it upon themselves to be a more proactive hands-on security company. So I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as they're trained. And I believe that this security company is trained. I love how that they're descending on stairs. They're clearing the corners as most appropriate as possible, and they're communicating with each other. That they get a huge plus. Now, we'll say this. The problem with clearing apartment complex, an open apartment complex, is that you might be muzzling some of the residents there with your firearm. That's definitely a disadvantage. You have no legal justification to brandish your weapon right at a resident who just barely come in out of their house. So, do you want to keep your gun at the low ready? Now, ask yourself, you also have to ask yourself, what type of incident is this? If it's just a man with a gun, just brandishing a weapon, it could be a wobbler, guys. It could be a misdemeanor, or it could be a felony. If they're actually pointing it at somebody, well, you have a felony. But if the gun is just out, okay, you could just have that misdemeanor. Let me go down the list here. Okay, so there's a point in time where the security officers, they come up to the choke point, or the point where they're making contact with this person. If you already have enough to take somebody at gunpoint, then you have enough to prone somebody out on the floor, and you have enough to handcuff them. So that's just what I would do. And that's my thinking here. You got enough to point a gun at somebody, or you have enough justification, then you certainly have enough justification to prone them out and put them in handcuffs. Now, can you put them in handcuffs? Well, if you are going to affect the private person's arrest, yes. can you detain in the state of California other than a circumstance where there's some type of theft and you have a contract with that merchant? Can you detain? And the answer is no. You cannot detain anybody. You have, in California and a lot of other states, you have to go through with the entire arrest. Okay? So what I saw is I didn't see this guy with any gun. Maybe there was somewhere, but I think it was 2 long rifles. But I didn't see any gun. So what legal justification do you have to arrest these people? And you might say, well, I'm just detaining them. You don't have authority to detain. The California Penal Code specifically gives police officers the authority to detain. It's in 849B of the California Penal Code. Merchants can detain, but you can't detain unless you actually have a crime. Did you see them with the gun? I didn't see any gun. I mean, there could have been one. So just think about that situation. Remember, guys, these are our first responders. It's not really law enforcement every single time. I believe in that situation, they were the first responders. And they were probably thinking, let me protect the client. Okay? Quite honestly, if I was working private security on the post, I'm a hands-on guy. Whether it's law enforcement or private security, I would have probably done something very similar. I'm not gonna ding them too hard on this incident. Okay, there's another incident where there's a suspicious vehicle. South Coast Public Safety. Looks like they're going a little bit fast. They have their lights on. I think it was a little bit too fast, but they found an urgent need to respond there. Looked like 1 or 2 of the officers, when they approach the suspicious vehicle, they have their handgun to the side, to the back like this. I have never been to any training where they're teaching you to do this. And most of the time, if you're putting the gun in back of you like this, you're kind of saying to others, even to yourself, I don't have enough to just take them at gunpoint. This is one of those I'm not too sure situations, so I'll just put my gun here. And it also because it looks polite to the person you're contacting, because that person may not be the suspect. Maybe that person is the actual owner of the vehicle. So you want to be as polite as possible and put it to the side. I'm not going to ding them on that. This is learned behavior. I did some more research, and I'll talk about that later. But this is your LA County Sheriff's Department institutional inbreeding behavior, guys. You see this on cops. You see this at the LA County Sheriff's Department. I know that because I grew up in the SGV, the San Gabriel Valley. This is for years, this is what they've been doing. They don't teach this in the academy. I know that because I teach at the academy. And I went through a police academy. So I work at a police academy right now, and I've went through the academy more than 20 years ago, and they don't teach that technique. But it's learned behavior. I'm not dinging them hard on that. Again, this is institutional inbreeding. Thank you, LA County Sheriff's Department. What kind of incident is this? Well, it depends on the type of theft. I mean, the catalytic converter is over $950, then you certainly have a grand theft, okay? The type of crime is going to dictate your tactics and response as well. I really like the fact that there's a 2-officer response on that. So I thought it was pretty neat. Okay, so I went to the website and I looked up the owner's profile. And the owner of the company was a former explorer, I think a captain, a lieutenant or a captain, I think a captain, for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, one of the stations out there. Why is this relevant? Because a lot of the videos that I saw out there and the way they carry themselves out are very professional, and they're a reflection actually of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Some of you might be thinking, oh, those are just explorers. They're little explorers. You know, you don't learn tactics. No, you're fooled. I was an explorer for 2 years, 1997 to 1999-ish. For 2 years, I was an explorer with the West Covina Police Department. Arguably one of the best explorer posts out there. I'm just kidding, guys. Those of you who are explorers, you're probably getting mad at what I'm saying right now. But they're a really good post to be at. The training that I got as a police explorer was better than the training that I got as a police officer. The training that I got as a police explorer was a lot more extensive than the training I got at the police academy. As a police explorer, you go to numerous competitions out there, and you're training under the supervision of officers assigned to special details like SWAT, officers who are field training officers. The best of the best train you when you're a police explorer, and you're constantly training. Every week we train 4 hours, 5 hours on felony stops, on DUI stops, traffic stops. We did executive protection scenarios, but scenario after scenario after scenario. And I believe that the owner of this company is doing the same thing. Lastly, I found out, I saw my book. So I'm the author of The Private Patrol Operator. And I saw my book on their Instagram page. My book was on there, on the Instagram stories. So I think that this person read my book, whoever owns this company. However, knowing what you know from the book, I think that there should be a little bit more cleanup on the company, just a little bit more things. Otherwise, grade. Just because you're one of my clients or just because you purchased my book doesn't mean I'm going to be more lenient on you. I believe that this company is well deserving of a grade of somewhere between a B minus, and a C plus. So somewhere between a B and a C plus. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm telling you, that bicycle incident, that knocked them down a whole grade. Why? Why would you do that? And then why would you post that? But I'm more worried about why you posted that. That's all I have, guys. If you work for South Coast Public Safety, feel free to reach out to me. We can always do a redaction. Well, not a redaction, but yeah, kind of like a redaction. If you want to clarify anything, I could go on camera and do another video where you make some clarifications. So that's a grade I give them. Between a B and a C plus. Feel free to reach out to me through email if you work for this company, or you know a lot more about this company. Email me at ssundahl@yahoo.com. Make sure you spell my name right. It's not Sandoval, it's Sundahl. When I did one for Black Knight Patrol, I got phone calls, emails, and I'm tempted to do a whole complete video and give them maybe a C or a D. So that's after all of the commentary that came and people reaching out to me on my phone, like, hey, you gave them the wrong grade. That's a no-go. All right, guys, let me know what company you want me to review next. And I will not do Allied. I won't do Securitas because I've done them tons of times already. Looking forward to comments. Take care.